This is Candace Stewart, who is at East West.
Hiya.
Absolutely, please applaud.
Hello.
Raoult Feldman, she's over at Clear Lake and Fever, right? Vicky Giordano.
Evergreen.
And Vicky's over at Evergreen.
And
Huh?
And Enterprise.
And Enterprise, yes. Tina Morris, who's at The Village. And most of you know this woman needs no introduction, the one and only Paula Salvatore.
Hey. I was like, where am I at?
Exactly.
I'm out here.
Formerly of Capitol Studios. She's a legend. We're going to talk about a number of things, but these women are the most amazing gatekeepers you'll ever work with. And if you're ever lucky enough to work in a big studio, you'll, at one point or another, rub elbows or something. You'll have to go through them. They'll either be booking you or helping you get in or helping you go out or getting your, out of a jam. One way or the other, these women will help you. They are your friends, they are your allies in everything that you do, trust me. I know it sounds weird now, but they will help you. You'll either have a great session or a bad session, depending on how you treat these ladies. Trust me. So we're gonna go through a couple things, and managing a recording studio is a demanding job, and it's not for the faint of heart. So I would like everyone to kind of tell a little about themselves, and then tell how you got to this point of being manager in one of the most prestigious studios in LA. And there are a lot of studios in LA, but this is the creme de la creme. So let's start over here with Candace and work our way around.
You know, I'm from Charleston, South Carolina originally. I was born in LA, but my parents moved there when I was a little kid. And I have 3 older brothers, and they're musicians, and the 2 oldest are engineers. And they came out here in the late 60s, early 70s and worked at the record plant here in Hollywood for the then manager, Rose Mann, who is the grande dame of what we do and our teacher to most of us, actually. And I studied engineering under my brother. He had a small studio at Glenwood Place, which was called Take One. And I was an engineer for about 1.5 years. I was an assistant. And this is a story worth telling because it got me here, which is that I did a session with a really famous engineer. His name is Shel Talmy. He just died. He was blind. And I did this session with him, and he was amazing. He was super nice. Everything was cool. Everybody asked, like, was it weird being a girl? No, it was fine. And everybody wanted to help me. It was cool. But I did this session with this guy, and he was so amazing that after the session, I went to my brother, and I said, I don't want to be an engineer anymore. And he goes, you're doing great. Wow, you're great. And I'm like, that guy's blind. And he's amazing, you know? But had worked in hotels, and I'd been a bartender and stuff like that, and worked in a lot of hospitality. And I said, but I think I can help you book it. And because Steve had worked at the record plant and knew all those people like Mike Klink and Jim Scott, got a call from Mike Klink and said, I got this band I got to re-record. And I'm like, okay. And it was the first session I ever booked was Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. Wow. It was 8 months. I looked like a star. Yeah, it was great. That was a whole nother story.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a true story.
That's pretty cool. Okay, great. How did you get to where you're at?
Well, I went here. I was an aspiring audio engineer. I knew my hearing was different, so that's why I came to study audio. And after school, I got hired as a runner at Paramount. And I think just working in a studio and actually having a real life experience made me realize that while I do want to spend every single day of my life in the studio, I also want to have a set schedule and weekends at home. So, and I'm really good at the admin stuff. So I kind of transitioned more into the admin stuff and became assistant manager there, and then got picked up by Atlantic Records, and I ran their private studios for 7 years. And yeah, well, now I am where I am. I love what I do.
Very cool. Cool. Vicky?
I started out fresh out of high school. I went to A&M Records, worked there for 2 years, and then went over to Chrysalis Records for another 2 years. And then I started doing publicity for music. And so I was traveling all over the world with In Excess and Men at Work and Men Without Hats and a few other
Men Without Work.
They had a lot of work, but anyway, and then just my brother-in-law was a maintenance tech at Hollywood Sound, which was down the street here on Selma, and he said, our manager just quit. Are you interested? I said, sure. And so that was a studio I used to go to when I was a little kid because he would work nights there. And he would play us, like Prince did his first record there, and he'd like take all the stuff down and just solo the vocals. And my sister and I were like screaming, laughing because it was grunts and groans and stuff like that. I said, this is a cool spot. So, and then wound up doing audio rental gear. I went to Audio Effects. I was there for 8 years. And then DMT for 7 years. And then I managed the Bridge in Glendale for 10 years. Because I'm very old now.
She's 14. She was 14.
And,
Don't count up the years. Just go along with it.
And then I worked at the mix lab for Ben Wallfish for 4 years, and now I'm at Evergreen for 3.
Tina?
I'm an East Coaster, born in Washington, D.C., grew up in Pennsylvania, went to Berklee College of Music, and stuck in Boston for like 10 years and was engineering in the studios over there and doing a lot of tech work, learning a lot of stuff. And then in 2006, decided to make my way to Los Angeles finally at the ripe old age of 31, which is like strange because everybody else was like established already that I'd already gone to school with, and walked into the Village and just for a tour. And if you guys ever get to know Jeff Greenberg, he's an original. He's an original, and walked in just for a tour, you know, and he said, "Where'd you come from?" I said, "From Berklee." He goes, "Go upstairs. I'm going to interview you right now." And I said, "I don't have a resume." He's like, I don't care. Go upstairs. And I got a job like within like the first couple of weeks of me landing here. I'm a guitar player, so I had like been on the performance side of the glass, and then I was a tech and a recording engineer, so I'd kind of done everything. I got hired as a runner, so I started all over again in Los Angeles, but I did get hired as a junior tech as well. So after a year and a half, when the studio manager left, he said, "Well, you've done all the jobs. Do you want to manage?" And that's how I became a manager in 2008, and been doing it ever since.
See if I can remember everything. I'm an East Coaster too. I'm from Rhode Island originally. When I was, wow, that's wow. It's hard to say. So when I was really young, around 9, I really wanted to play piano and sing and be a songwriter, and I got a sewing machine instead. So I started sewing, and then I realized a lot of rock bands don't sew. So I found a school that was right near Berklee College of Music, and there were musicians everywhere. So I'm like, okay. So I found a school like right down the street and went there, and it just seemed like always running into radio people, musicians, and I came to California in mid to late 70s and started meeting everybody. I got a job sewing, making clothes for rock bands with another girl, and then I started meeting producers and stuff. They invited me to a studio, and I realized there's an office outside, and so I thought, so I quit sewing for a while. I went to work at Music Plus Record Store, and I met more musicians. I met the Toto guys when they were forming Toto and all, and then I was working there for a while. I took off with one musician for a while, and that didn't work, so I went back, and I
Can't go into any detail?
Yeah, no. I went back to Music Plus, and I said, I need a job, and they said, oh, we know this girl that just quit, Kendon in Burbank, where Candace followed me later. Anyway, and she just quit, and she was in traffic, and I said, oh, and I called my good friend Vinny Poncio, and I said, what do I got to work in a studio? He said, 24-track Dolby, I don't know. And I said, that's good.
When you say traffic, they think they're standing out in the road.
Yeah, well, you're in
traffic is
the office, they
scheduling.
call it traffic.
Traffic
So
is scheduling.
I called the studio up and said, I know 24-track Dolby, and I want a job at traffic, and I work with these couple of guys, and they're like, and I'm right around the corner, in fact, and they're like, oh, we just lost somebody. So I walked in, I got the job.
And Kendon.
At Kendon.
What year was that?
Do I have to say?
No.
Okay.
I
Rose
mean, Kendon hasn't been around in a while, but it's now evolved.
Rose started
into-
at Kendon, and so did I.
Then Rose came in from the record plant. She escaped record plant for a minute. She came in, and then so while I was at Kendon, Keith Olsen came in as doing. He said, "You got to hear Sound City." So he brought me over, and then I got a job at Sound City. And then I spent the 80s there and almost got stuck, you know. And then Capitol called me in 1990, and I stayed there till I made it to 33 1/3 years. So I made a record. And so now, okay, where's my career going? So I just became a music consultant, and Angelina has helped me out so much, and I'm here like at the school one day a week, just trying to bring my friends and bring my new friends to them friends, and so it's been wonderful working on documentaries, and because I'm not going to compete against you college kids, so I got to find another road. So anyway.
But that's institutional memory that you just can't buy. You have to experience it. You have to know what's going on. And if you don't, things tend to fall apart quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it's something you can't, I mean, no
stay on
offense to
your
anyone in this
toes.
room, but going up through the ranks and learning these things, Kendon Recorders was owned by Kent Duncan, is that correct? Yeah.
Yep.
And so all these legendary rooms
He was a
around
legendary cutter.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, mastering engineer.
Final, yeah.
So it was...
Frank
it was,
Zappa's mastering engineer.
Yeah. I mean, just legendary
Stevie
projects.
Wonder, yeah.
Stevie Wonder, yeah.
Okay.
Still there. It's
We'll
called
drop
Glenwood
names-
Place. It's
we
still
can
there.
drop names all day long.
I know, we can do all day.
It's like a sickness.
Exactly. All right. So let's talk a little bit. This is specifically for Candace and for Tina, but then I'd like everyone else to chime in after that. The environment that you create is critical to everything. You can't walk into a place and, not feel a vibe. I mean, how many times have you known people who are like, I want to go into the room where the Beach Boys cut, Pet Sounds. I want to go in, the vibe that you're creating is everything. So how do you determine that within the artist realm of like, this artist needs this artist needs that? Is it a little different? Do you cater to them in any way?
Well, yeah, I cater to them completely, and I try to find out in advance from their assistant or their manager if they have any special likes, dislikes. Something as simple as like a food thing, if they're vegan, vegetarian, stuff like that. I try to find that out early on. And then I'm lucky because East West is a historical place, but even in a studio, if you started a new place, it is your job to create the vibe and to be welcoming. And I think that it's very, artists are very sensitive, and when they come into a studio, they're very vulnerable. So it's very important for you to realize that and for you to make them feel as comfortable and safe as possible, and that it's a private kind of sanctuary. And then I find out what they like to drink. But basically, just making them feel at home.
Tina?
That's the thing is like for you guys coming into a studio and working a studio, or even like when you're producing and bringing an artist into a studio, it is like the artist is so vulnerable. Yeah. Pick like a very welcoming place. Like even just like when you walk in, like I've been to studios where people are like, "Hi," and you are. Like I just like even like my front desk people, I'm like, no, like make them feel at home. Like the minute they come in, like no matter who you are, like welcome to the village, because yes, like that kind of little thing, it really helps, and it just really helps to have like a friendly environment within like the people you work with as well. I had one artist who's pretty big, and he came in and he just said, I can tell like everybody likes each other here. Like it's not like a competitive thing, like everybody's there to like help. So it's like, it's not even like, oh, you're asking me to do something because you're like the engineer. Like that kind of thing. Like we make sure that everybody's, more like a team than like a hierarchy of like the runners and engineers. And
It's definitely
like
a family.
That. It's definitely a family.
And if you feel like you're part of that family, it's great. I mean, East West is legendary. All of these places are legendary, but East West is, if you go back and you look at the Elvis special,
1968, yeah.
that was recorded live in East West. Is that correct?
That's correct. And no,
back
I
and just
wasn't
watch
there when
that.
Sinatra was there. My staff was like, were you
was even
here?
more than
I
that.
was like, I was too.
But there's a lot of legendary stuff, and you go back and you see some of these things, and you're just like, it's a walk through history when you see some of these places. So to be able to go in and record in these places, a lot of times it's intimidating.
I was about to say you don't want it to be intimidating. I was just going to say that. And I think we could all speak to the fact that it doesn't matter if you're famous, because every time that phone rings, my staff, I educate them like, you don't know who's on the other end of that phone. I mean, I get a call one day, hey, I need to do vocals with this guy, Frank Ocean. I don't know who Frank Ocean is. It's like 20 years ago, right? And I don't know, but that doesn't matter. Everybody makes a first record. Yeah. It's exciting when the stars are there. It's fun, but it's just as fun to help someone who's never been in. It's almost more fun to help guide somebody that's never been in.
Yeah.
I got a call, like Frank Ocean, he wants some trees in the studio.
I let him park. I let him live in an Airstream in the parking lot for 3 months.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
The writers are pretty intense sometimes. Like,
Really?
The writer is the
Yeah.
list
They're
of things
still
they
getting
need.
hints about writers?
They're, yeah, like
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we had, like we would get
Blue M&Ms.
the blue M&Ms. Mine was
I don't know if we can say that out loud.
Yeah.
We can.
No, I think mine
Back in the
was
80s, it was
we had a last minute we had a last minute booking for Seal. And so I was like, okay, cool. It's like 4:00 and he's coming in at like noon. And they gave me a writer and he said he needs this lavender or candle from the store in London. And I was like, okay. So we waited up, to like order the candle and get it. We somehow got it like extra overnighted or something. It was insane. It was like literally next day, but it was like a late day request. And I was like, okay, let's call it.
But you pulled it
Calling
off.
London at like, 11 o'clock and being like, can you just get on a plane right now? And like we did.
I'll give you $500 to bring me the camera.
And one way or the other, our client's always
This
going
is
to pay for
before
that.
Amazon.
Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
It was before Amazon too. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, this was like
Well, yeah, pre-Amazon.
pre-Amazon.
Now it's same day delivery.
Now it's like you order over 25, you're fine. Yeah.
So, okay, other than you are high-profile studio managers, but other than being a high-profile studio managers, let's talk about kind of the hierarchy of what's going on, because there are runners. When people first come into a studio, they're usually runners. It's like these are people who come in and it's like so-and-so in Studio A needs this and so-and-so, and you will spend your day just going back and forth. Like you won't even, if you get hired, you won't even go inside the studio for how long?
It's called running for a reason.
Yeah. And you're doing it all day long. But that's the way to learn the business.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an appreciation for it once you get to a certain point where it's just like, I've been in your shoes. I know what you're going through. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I know there's runners and there's assistants and there's tech and there's, talk about your hierarchy of who you need to do and talk to about, like, you are the big boss in every place you walk into. You make everything happen. So who do you count on to make those other decisions that need to be done?
Well, they're looking at me. We all do the same job, and obviously we're different people and we approach things in a different way, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing. So the hierarchy, I always say that, when you're young and you say, oh, when I make it to a producer, I'm going to be in charge. At the end of the day, we're all subordinate to the artist, without question. The A&R guy, the producer, everybody. So the hierarchy, yes, I'm the boss, and I started out in a smaller place, but the hierarchy is me at the top. And then my assistant Keith, who's a badass, he's here. He's an engineer too. But really, we rely so heavily on the runners and on the assistant engineers. The runners really have more interaction with the clients, almost more than I do. The front desk is the first person they see. The runners, they interact with a lot, get their food order and stuff like that. And you represent us. You represent the studio, and you must always remember that. You got to feel like it's your house, and you need to be proud of your house and feel that way about it when you represent yourself. So I really rely on the runners, the assistant engineers. I rely on everybody, my techs. But I'm sort of in a position where, like, there's a lot I don't need to know. I let them work things out amongst themselves. I'm a big believer in self-empowerment and delegation because I can't do it all myself. And I really don't expect them to bother me with stupid little stuff, because I got the important stuff, whereas the making sure they have jobs stuff going on, making the money. So I trust them to do their job, and I'm a pretty benevolent dictator, but Yeah.
But a dictator
Nonetheless.
Yes.
Yeah, without question. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I would say before the runners, there's interns.
True.
That's how my current studio, that's kind of how we hire. We hire from within. So we have an internship
I
program.
do too.
And when people have gone through the internship program, that's when they're eligible for a potential
Is it your
hire.
specific program or an academic
It's-
fulfillment program
well,
from a school?
we take students to get school credit, but the program is our program. We work with the schools.
I want to
and-
copy your thing, then.
I'll send it to you. I have a whole JD.
I got to think too.
So basically, we have them first come in. It's like a trial. They come in for a semester, just 3 months, and they come in 2 or 3 days a week and try to kind of learn the ropes. And that's how you have a chance to get to know someone and their work ethic before you commit to fully hiring them.
Absolutely.
If they do a great job and we have an open position, we bring them on. That will be the next step as runners. And we're like indie studios. We don't have a lot of the major artists. We're more for the people who can't afford the East-West but still need a live tracking room.
Yeah.
So they're gonna come to us. And this allows us to give our staff more opportunity, because if somebody books last minute and all I have is a runner available, we're gonna throw them as an assistant. And that's kind of how they learn and get better. We also let them use their rooms during downtime so
Yeah, I do
that
too.
they
That's
get
a
a lot
must.
of
I do too.
experience.
That's a must. And the reason why that's a must is for the exact reason of you don't know when someone's going to need to jump in and do what they need to do. And if they don't know that room, it makes their job incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
You need
You're
to be
sitting
in the
there,
right
you know,
room at the right
yeah.
time in order to move
Yeah.
ahead. That's the best way to do it. Just be the right room, the right
Be
time.
ready.
Somebody needs
Yeah.
to be ready and blow their mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it? The famous story with
Al
Al
Schmidt.
Schmidt.
Oh, yeah, Al Schmidt
and how
was
he
like-
got his first gig.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with Duke Ellington. Okay.
I think it was.
Who was it?
It was. I think it was.
It
either
was,
one of
it was
those.
either Count Basie or it was Basie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like 16 and his uncle had a recording studio and he was just working there on a weekend and a whole band started coming in and he's like, I've never done this before.
Yeah.
And Count
Well, and the
said,
engineer got food poisoning or something, and
yeah.
he couldn't come in. So it was like, all right, guess what, Al?
gave him
Yeah,
a-
don't poison the engineer.
That is frowned
Don't
upon.
give him
Don't go out of your
Yeah.
way to poison anybody. That's a bad thing. That's bad karma.
Don't put
but yeah.
Visine in his drink.
Let the sushi place do that for you.
Wow.
I had a client put Xanax.
So what year was that?
Engineers drink and then complain.
For Al?
Yeah, that was like in the
It's got to be in the
50s or-
40s.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, probably 49.
How many people know who Al Schmidt was? If you don't know,
If
look
you
up the
don't
name.
know, you
Yeah,
need
look
to
him up.
educate
He got a-
yourself.
An absolute legend.
He has a
Vicky?
We do not have an internship program. I rely heavily on resumes that I get mostly from Berkeley, because we hold the Berkeley auditions at our studio every year. Then the welcome event, and then we did Grammy Camp. I think you did Grammy Camp too, right? Grammy Camp a couple of months ago. Hectic. But yeah, my runners, I feel like the mom. I'm the den mother. That's what I call myself. And these are my children, essentially. And I have to sometimes spank my kids when they do something wrong, because sometimes they do something wrong. But for the most part, people are super comfortable coming to Evergreen. We had Jennifer Hudson do her holiday record there, and she brought her hairless cat, who bit me really hard and made me bleed. But anyway, I didn't tell her. It was good. But, you know, they're return customers because they love how they're treated. And she's super famous, and I was like totally starstruck, but didn't let her know that, you know, like I do with most people that come through the door, because she wants to be comfortable, and she shows up in her sweats and no makeup, and you know, and she's just there and just hanging out, and she has so much fun. So that's why we want everyone to feel like that, you know.
Yeah.
You know, my friend Patty here told me there should be a book on mistakes made by interns and runners. A lot of comedy in that. You know, we were talking
be
about
many
Should
volumes.
do one.
Yeah,
Many
I
volumes.
think we
Volume
should. Yeah, making coffee. You know. So anyway,
You should tell the
That's a
parking,
big job.
The parking, the The famous parking story for your
Oh,
famous
yeah,
client.
that was just, most of the time I got yelled at the Capitol was for parking, you know.
Really?
Yeah, that's when people
too.
lose it.
Me
People
too,
lose it, yeah.
Why?
Well, because they want to park.
Were they-
They don't have enough spots.
Because
yeah, but I mean,
someone,
just park up in the back spot. I
yeah,
mean,
well, they have, you know, designated spots sometimes, but
Yeah.
sometimes between the back desk, because we had all security, and the kiosk, they didn't get the message straight,
What about your one artist who?
like Paul McCartney,
Yeah.
you know. So,
ooh, okay.
yeah.
Paul McCartney.
I'm like, you know who's coming, get out, yeah. Well, it was right around, right after 9/11, so basically Paul pulls up in his, like, and he tells the story, he pulls up in his blue Corvette convertible, and he said, I saw the lad, and I thought he might not recognize me, so I said, Paul McCartney. And he said, pop your trunk. And then he mirrored underneath his car. And Paul's like, I'm not carrying a bomb.
He didn't know who Paul McCartney was.
I guess not, yeah.
He didn't know.
Yeah,
He
it
clearly
was-
didn't know.
Yeah, and when you work at the Capitol, he should, but he was a
Yeah.
security guard. And so Paul's like, okay, he parks, but then he pulls into the president's spots, and another security runs out there and says, no, not there. And he's like,
Jeez.
I built this studio.
so he throws the keys to his friend. He goes, you move the car. And then I'm in the back because the guitar tech came out. He goes, Paula, we're having a little trouble with the parking. I'm like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I go run up to the back door. Paul comes in, and first person he sees, besides the security guy, he goes, that's a little over the top, isn't it? And I'm like, oh my God, I got a Beatle mad at me. You know, I'm like, and I said, I know. And I go, you built this place. And he goes, I did, didn't I? And so then he goes, well, who's in charge? And I said, I only run the studios, not in charge of the building.
It wasn't me.
And he said, well, do you want to tell him or shall I? I go, no, let me, you know.
I thought we taught accountability, Paul. Where's the
But that's the
accountability?
thing. I mean, now that's the tricky part about being a Capitol is it's a record label and a studio
Yeah,
at the same time.
yeah.
So it's a little. It's it's not just a recording studio. You have to kind of.
I just want to blame it on
And
Paul.
it's funny
Yeah.
because the
just
traffic
blame it on
went that
Paul.
way, and I was always going this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was great. Yeah. But basically it is, like when I was leaving Sound City, I went to Capitol, I go, I don't know, it's like corporate. I don't think like Sound City's so friendly. I see
Yeah.
everybody come in. I can't see everybody to come in. Can you move my office over here? Can I put an office here? They said, well, there's a pillar, right there. So no, But I said, because that's important. So I was just so security, please call me, and I'd be running around. But that's the thing, and people get intimidated because they're not coming off a stage, they're not getting applauded everywhere. They'd be and they walk down the halls and they see pictures, they see gold records, they see Sinatra thing, and they go, that's a high par. So
Yeah.
it kicks them in the butt, which is good. That's what John Mayer said. He's like, I needed to be somewhere where I'm going to get my butt kicked.
Yeah, you need to be humbled
Yeah. So
because when you walk down the ramp down in Capitol. And you see all those pictures.
Oh, my God.
You're like, okay, Nat King Cole,
In the studio,
Frank
yeah.
Sinatra. You're like, jeez, okay. You have to really kind of like
so
compose
it's
yourself for a second.
It's healthy, competition.
Auto tunes wasn't around.
No, it was real singers. And just to kind of put a button on this, I've worked at every one of these rooms.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked at every one of these rooms, and I can tell you, absolutely, having the right second is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to know
Absolutely.
personalities.
It's like a dating game for
Yes.
studio managers because like they're different engineers that really love
Yeah.
different energies for people. So you
and you
can't
gotta
just
know
be
that.
like, this is our best guy. You're gonna love him. It's like I had one guy that was just ridiculously talented, but he was so chill that engineers were like, I can't work with him.
He's not
I don't think he cares.
Yeah, he's not engaged.
But like other people are like, no, this dude's like so chill. Like he brings everybody, to like the chill level. But like it's really kind of difficult to like find
To pair
the-
people.
to pair people
Yeah.
up with,
That's a real thing.
especially like
Yeah.
an engineer
a
you've
real
never
thing.
worked
That is a real thing.
for.
It's not a fun
yeah.
thing when the engineer comes up
Yeah.
and goes,
Yeah, I know, and it's
never
like it's
had
also
this-
heartbreaking when you're like, I know this guy's gonna do great in this room, and then it's
And he
like,
doesn't.
yeah, and he doesn't.
He doesn't
but
vibe with the
He doesn't
guy.
vibe with the guy,
Yeah.
but like he knows his stuff, and he's a great engineer. Like he knows how to do the patches and all that stuff, but it's just the personalities didn't mix.
You're an engineer. It's so much.
But I don't think people realize that chemistry thing is everything.
So much vibe, though. You're in a room with someone for 14
especially
hours.
if it's the first time you've ever walked in, and you're in a place that you've revered all your life. It's like, this is Capitol, this is East West, this is this is the Village. This is You start going through all these places, and you're like, oh my God, So you have to make sure that the person when you're walking in there, is not going to be like busting your balls about stuff and making you feel like this big. It's like, dude, this is my first time.
Or not paying
working
attention.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's to get the right person at the right time is everything, and especially when you need to make last minute decisions. Like, okay, we're going to have to change this all around. We're going to have to do this and put this in here and change this. And if you
We
have
hate
someone
that, by
who's-
the way.
Yeah.
We hate when you flip the
I
room.
know, but you know what? Sometimes we did a session last year with I think Lettucey at East West, and we were just supposed to do vocals. That's all it was.
Forget about that.
That was all it was. And then because they were working on the film, and they came and said, we're just doing piano and vocals. And the next thing you know, it's like, okay, can we set up for and I'm like,
Strings and
okay.
whatever.
That was during the height of COVID. So that was 2021, something like that, 2020. It was cool. It was great. And the second was amazing. He was just like, whatever you need, we'll get it. But that kind of, like run and gun, if you don't have the right people helping you out, it's like, man, yeah, I know it's a legendary place, but I'm not going back there because the second was weird.
You got to think on your feet.
You really do. So, okay, we're moving on. So making a safe and cool and wonderful environment is definitely key to everything we're doing. By the way, don't forget to get your questions in too, because we're going to be getting around to those. So let's talk about some of the skills, because this is basically a service industry.
100%.
And if you can't service the client, you're in trouble. So it's
100%.
like a high-end prestige hotel. It's
100%.
So let's talk a little bit about that. The specific skills it takes to run that. The staff, because you are responsible for everything. You can't just sign off and just say, well, whatever. I booked them, so it's your problem now. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? You can't do that. So let's talk about some of the details. Once someone does a booking, what do you have? You're constantly running everything. You're running the staff, and you're running the maintenance, and you're running payroll, and you have to know what rooms are down, and what rooms are up, and that we got to pull the channel out of the V, because it's like blah blah blah
that's
blah blah.
all session preparation.
Yeah.
Days before.
So let's talk about those kinds of things, because a lot of times people don't understand. It's not just about walking in and booking a room and you're done. Your jobs are beyond that. It's like, I need to have how far in advance, for instance, do you need to look? If you have someone coming in to a studio and you've got a 60-piece orchestra coming in there, and then next thing you know, it's like tomorrow morning we have somebody coming in at 8 a.m. and these people are not planning on getting out till 4 a.m. That's why it's called traffic, because you have to be able to massage this. It's like, we've got these guys coming in. We've got, how much time do you need for all that stuff?
It's all about relationships with cartage companies, rental companies, the support companies. Truly, though, right?
Yeah.
Being able to call those people and be like, dude, I need you here at 7:30. My staff will be here at 6:30. They'll come in early so you can come and pick.
polite.
I had some timpanis left the other day, a little too long. I was annoyed by that. Timpanis are large.
Your cartage.
All the cartage rental guys are, like
Our
speed
friends.
dial.
Oh, have
Speed
you called?
dial.
I used to call Royal and be.
Oh my God.
They don't answer now. They don't answer now. It's a machine now.
No, they're never gone. They gotta be there.
But we are, as big of an ego as any of us may have and love our jobs and have the positive feedback and everything else, we're the people behind the scenes, and it's really important. I was saying earlier about being subordinate to the artist. We're the people behind the scenes. If we don't do our thing, it doesn't happen. Music is amazing, but if no one recorded it, if no one captured it, no one would hear it. And that is what we do. We make sure that environment is created, that things are technically working, that the staff is on point, that stuff is delivered on time. And you can only control so much. Things happen, and the way that you handle them, grace under fire, is a skill.
Yeah. And you're definitely under fire.
Oh yeah, dude. Because we all know no one's gonna die, because it's me. Hope not. Yeah, it's music, right? So it's not like we're in the operating room, holding a scalpel. But to them, it's their life, and it's very, very important, and you have to really treat it like it is. I mean, I won't lie that behind my breath or behind the door, I said, "Oh my God, what a drama!"
Oh, it's
but
the inner voice screaming.
All the time.
or the outer voice. I don't know, but no. But
Well, I'm sure that has to happen where the client leaves and you're like, never again.
in 42 years, there are only 3 people I won't let in.
Really?
I can't tell you who they are.
We're definitely having a conversation later.
Oh yeah.
We're definitely having a
But
conversation.
you gotta really.
Yeah, you gotta
I
mess
mean,
up.
you gotta really mess up for me not to let you in.
Vicky?
Being rude to my staff is no good.
Yeah. Fortunately, most of the stuff that we do is union. So we don't do, the sessions going till 4 a.m. and then we've got
Oh, I
another
do.
10. I know you guys do, but I don't. It just worked out that way. I mean, I'll take it, but
Lucky
I just
girl.
don't get it. So it's like, do we have to tune the piano? Do we have to do this? Do we have to do that? How many chairs? Do we have enough chairs? Just is everything working? Is the computer upgraded and
Yeah.
all that stuff that we have to think about? And we have to go to our techs and our seconds and the engineer and find out exactly, okay, what version of Pro Tools are you running? And, do you need the piano tuned? And how many strings are there? Oh, no, that's not going to work. And, oh, surprise, there's perk. Nobody told me there was perk.
Yeah.
Or there's a piano. It was not tuned because nobody knew it was going to be used. So it's all the same flow.
You have to ask a lot of questions in advance.
Right.
It's a lot of planning.
And 9 times out of 10,
they need.
I
9
said
times
that.
out of 10, the person that's booking the room doesn't have the answers to those questions. So
That's
we have to
very
just
true.
dig deeper into
Yo,
going to
you
somebody
always
else.
have to dig, yeah. I got to say, the camaraderie between the studio people in LA has always been so tight, and we're all there to help each other. I've never seen. That's why I invited all these women here, because we really help each other. We commiserate. We're like, "Are you slow? I'm slow. What's going on?" They just don't like me, or they just like, what's. So we go through all that. But there was a time I had 2 sessions going till 6 o'clock on Sunday. And then I had 2 10 a.m.s in 2 different rooms. And I had said to the runners, I got them all in a room, the setup guys, there's 6 of you. I said, do inventory. Make sure you have enough mics, stands, headphones, things,
Chairs.
music stand, lights, and chairs. I didn't think I had to say chairs. So I get a call at 2 a.m. on Sunday night, because by the time they cleaned up, and I said, hello, and he said, Paul, is Charlie? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I hate to tell you, he said, but we're out of chairs. And for a 10 o'clock session, I said, how many? He goes, 20. Oh, God. I'm like, oh, my God. I go, well, run around the building and find spare chairs. Get them out of the lounge. I don't care if they're orange or green. I said, everybody has to sit down, so there's going to be chairs. You go find them. And I said, and plus, I'm going to kill you guys tomorrow, So then he calls me back a half an hour later. He goes, we're out of music stands and lights.
Oh my God.
And I said, ugh, and it woke me up again. I said, okay. I'm like, so I had to get up at 7, start calling around the rental companies not open, calling audio rents and everybody. And then, it was about 15 of those. And then I called Candace. I'm like, do you have, she's like, I'll get them right over to you. Right over. I made 2 downbeats, and then I called them all in. And I said, one hero, just looking for one. And one guy goes, you didn't mention chairs.
Oh,
I'm like, oh. I said, you know what? I said,
fired.
Yeah,
I said, listen, do I? Oh, we were like, it's like you can't kill him. But, so I said, you know what? So I'm got to do your job now. I got to take inventory and mics and all that. And I said, if you don't do your job, I do your job, and then you have no job.
Yeah.
So,
You didn't mention chairs?
I know.
Dude.
Well,
Yeah.
I saw his days being numbered.
No, but I did mention
Like
that
one.
you're fired.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, but you do.
Tony wouldn't have done that.
I never have done that
Never
to you all,
done that.
ever. Ever.
He had extra chairs.
No, you have to have good habits all the time.
You do, and I think having a conversation with, right though, sometimes when you're talking to the engineers, it's like, I've been hired to do this, but I don't know what's going on.
You don't know what we're dealing with the day before, the
Yeah.
night before. It's not your job. It's not your problem.
I mean,
Frankly.
the weirdest, well, I'm just going to jump in and just tell this little story here. I did a session last March or May at East West.
Am I in trouble?
No, no, you're not in trouble. And I get a call from Ban Shabagazi, who is Kamasi Washington's manager. And she's like, are you in town? I'm like, yeah. And she goes, you're not in Austin? I'm like, no, I'm not in Austin. I'm in town. She goes, can you do a session for me tonight? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Just let me know where. She goes, it's at East West. It's going to start at 6. Didn't tell me the artist because she manages Kamasi. I'm just thinking it's going to be blah, 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 blah. It's going to be whatever. And she says, yeah, just be there 5 and no problem. And it's strings. I'm like, okay, cool. Got there, didn't know who we were recording, just knew I was recording strings. And about 3 hours into the session, when we were done, it only took us till 9:30. There was this guy who came to the door who must have been like 6'7". And he sticks his head in the door.
Magic Johnson.
And big dude. I'm 6'1", but he's 6'7", okay? And he looks in there and he just, and then I see this other guy, like about 30 seconds later, poke his head in the door.
He's 5'11".
And he was 5'5", but and it was Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
And Kendrick goes, is everything cool? Can I come in? I'm like, it's your session, dude. You can come in anytime you want. And we had just recorded all the strings for Luther that night. And it was great. I didn't know the session. I didn't know it was for Kendrick Lamar. I didn't, it's like
I probably didn't know it was for Kendrick Lamar.
it's like you get the call, you answer the call. You don't sit there and say to yourself, well, who's going to come in? Who's going to show up? And who's going? It's like you got the gig. Make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Say yes.
Just record the music.
Say yes, and then you figure out a way to make everything else happen.
Yeah.
So it's one of those weird things where everybody in the room is not as versed as what you think. You're just winging it sometimes.
But then you're a Grammy winner.
Is that
Yeah, I'm a Grammy nominated person.
Is that your Grammy nominee?
That's my Grammy nominee.
See,
Yeah.
that surprise session. Look at
Yeah, but it's like, but you don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean? It's like you get a call and you answer the call, whatever it
Sometimes
is.
it's better.
Oh my God!
Right.
If I had known, I'd been like,
Yeah.
But it's like, it's another session. Here we go. We're going to jump in. We're going to do this.
Was the assistant good?
Huh?
Was the assistant good?
The system was amazing. Absolutely. No, I tell you, every
Go
time.
back and look up who that was.
And I also need to stress this. How many women do we have here in the studio? Okay. The best, I've said this before, but the best assistant I've ever had was a woman. The best.
That's what Shel Talmy said about me.
The best
The blind
assistant.
guy.
She was attentive. She knew what was going on. She knew how to placate a bunch of knuckleheads that were coming in the room. Having all that estrogen energy in that room was just, sometimes it's just the best thing you needed. And I'm telling you, so don't stand down. When someone says, you can't do it, tell them to go to hell. Tell them to come talk to me. I'm telling you.
No one ever did that.
The best second I've ever had, and she was my second in Nashville for probably like 3 years.
Nice.
She was my consistent.
studio?
I was at Woodland and digital
Blackbird,
recorders.
yeah.
No, this was a long time. This is like in the 90s.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
And she was at Woodland, but I would take her like, can you just borrow you?
My old assistant.
And it was great. But so don't ever let someone say you can't do it.
Our
Especially,
head assistant is a woman.
yeah.
She's
And I've worked with her.
She's
She's great.
badass.
She is awesome.
She is awesome.
We've got
Where'd she come from?
a lot of women.
Do you?
But yeah, the one thing
They all
that
come
I
from
didn't,
behind.
as me growing up as an engineer and assistant and everything, I never really was able to put this into words, but then there was a keynote speech that I was watching Wendy and Lisa from Prince's band talk about this, and I forget which one said this, but she said, be like, don't worry about what your sex is. Like,
Yes.
you are an assistant first. Just lead. You are an engineer first. And then it just happens to be you're a woman.
Yeah.
But also, there's a good thing about that. Like, because we do have so many female engineers and females on staff, I like to have it absolute 50-50, to have
have
like
any right
parity. Really?
No girls right
Well, you
now.
can't have any of mine.
They
They're
all
amazing.
They all puss out.
Yeah. But
I get busted. I know.
but yeah, but I mean, I think like a lot of female
I'm down.
artists are gravitated towards
Yes.
the Village. We had one day where we had like Leanne Rimes, Lady Gaga, Kesha. Like, we had like this all-star female clientele, and it was like all of them were like, no, because like I feel so comfortable here. Like
You
I
didn't
feel
have to have
safe.
hot guy assistants? Come on.
But the industry has shifted. It
But
used to be
yeah.
a bunch of dudes, and now you've got other people coming in saying, I think I do want to grab a dude.
But you
Yeah.
also don't say,
Well,
I'm
we
going
also
to the
did-
lady eye doctor.
Yeah.
You're going to the
No,
eye
you're
doctor.
just going to
like
the doctor.
you just
You're-
said.
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
think about this.
But
you learn
the one
craft.
thing that, like
It's the job.
before I arrived at the Village, we had a session with a very popular boy band. And my friend Vanessa was, it was one of her first sessions. And, they were like, all right, you're up. These guys booked last minute. You're a runner. Get in there. You know what you're doing. And one of the guys came out and was like, hey, so can we get like a guy in here? Because like she's harsh in our vibes. Like we can't be dudes, man. And Jeff literally was like, either she's a very capable engineer. You either have her in the session or you can go.
How long ago was that?
About 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's radically changed.
Yeah.
Because you either are,
But you do want to make the client comfortable too.
you do.
Yeah,
but the client needs to grow up some.
But like you need to grow up. Like you're
They need
there
to
to
grow up a little
record.
bit.
You're not there to be a frat house. You're there
Yeah.
to record and get your vocals done. So
I call it the locker room environment. I have three brothers that prepared me well.
Yes.
But at the end, like I think we all agree, and you said it, you all said it. It's not about this. It's about these,
Yeah.
and about this, and
Yeah.
it's about this.
It's definitely about the heart of it all.
It's about
because you
learning your
can't-
craft.
Absolutely.
If you're great, did they end up liking her after?
that's why I
yeah.
know, and
See.
back
So we
again.
don't
Okay,
manage
good.
And then they
Yeah.
stayed
Because
for like a
Cool.
whole month.
make
See, that's
that
good.
Yeah.
I
That's
figured.
fine.
I figured. Yeah.
And she's amazing.
Yeah.
Studio D was amazing, and I mean they keep on coming back.
Nice.
When I-
20
old
years ago?
guys now. Yeah.
Now you're thinking who that was.
I worked on Backstreet Boys 20 years ago at the Village, so I hope that wasn't my session. I hope it wasn't. Let's stop. Okay. All right. How are we doing on time?
Deja vu, Tony?
We doing good? Or we need to move on to questions or, Q&A? We're good? Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the technical side. Are people moving more toward 96K? Are they only at 96K? Are people still doing 24/48? Are they moving toward analog tape? Are they moving,
Tina, I think we're all doing everything. Are you? I'm running a lot of tape right now.
Oh my
Really?
gosh, so much
so much tape. Yeah.
I-
Doing transfers all the time.
We just did a
doing full projects,
48
beginning to end.
track analog mix.
48, you said?
48
Dolby, 24.
analog analog mix to half-inch.
I did have to
No
find.
way.
Yeah.
I did have to find a Dolby unit recently, and it was not easy
Dolby
for Eddie
A or
Kramer.
just Dolby
No, it was
SR?
just SR for 2-track.
so are they,
We've got a lot of SR.
are we,
Good to know, dude.
are you using
So
SR on
much.
everything?
No.
When
no, nobody's
requested.
using. I mean, like for
If the source tape already had
Yeah.
it on it, like in this
Right,
case with
but I
Eddie
mean, if you're
Kramer.
cutting from the ground up.
Cutting no.
You're just
'Cause-
30 IPS.
30
15.
IPS, 900,
Come on.
911.
15.
If you want.
I don't think these kids know what you guys are
Everybody know
talking
what
about.
we're
They don't study tape anymore.
What?
What does IPS stand for?
Inches
Per second.
Inches per
It's
second.
supposed to turn the like how fast the wheel,
It's inches per second.
and it's like it can go from like 7 or I think
Seven and a half
15,
to 30. And the slower the inches per second, the more recording time you get.
Correct.
But the
And it
noisier the
sounds
tape.
different.
also the
Different
noise
headroom.
factor
I was going to say the headroom, the noise
Which is
factor.
why we always used to use Dolby SR, and we had like,
Which is noise reduction.
which is
Yeah.
noise reduction. So if you had something like
don't
the
know what
Studer
that
827s, you would have noise reductions built in the 827s. They are A20s.
820
The 820s had SRs in the
in the
front
car.
of the machine.
Yeah, in the car.
So that was great.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you would have to have a Dolby SR rack somewhere along the lines, and But it's wonderful, I think, in the age of AI, that people are actually coming back around to analog and recording with analog. I think everybody in this room, if you're a student, you should not be allowed to graduate unless you have some analog experience.
Now learn
serious.
how to align a tape
It's
machine.
really, you should be exposed to everything. You really should be, because there's a sound that you cannot duplicate with any plugin.
Well, think about a tape machine. You have limited number of tracks, right? Unlike Pro Tools. And this is a good thing in so many ways, really, quite honestly. Would we agree? Learn how to align a tape machine, learn how to work with tape, and maybe take that same mindset, that analog mindset, into your digital production, where you don't kill everything with the death spiral of 7,000 plugins. I said that out loud.
Yeah.
That came out of my mouth.
Yes, you did say that out loud, didn't you? Oh my God, okay, there we go.
But you know, coming back around, you know, like my engineering hero obviously was Al Schmidt. Coming back around, if you guys should really just look into his technique. His technique is so simple.
Yes.
I won't do the accent. Jeff Greenberg does the accent the best.
Don't over Mike.
Well, I mean,
Sounds like
it's
Joe Pesci.
like think about Joe Pesci, and then just put that
Al
on,
Schmidt.
like AI
Yeah.
that onto my voice. But he goes, you know, you go out to the room, and you move your ear around, and you listen to the instrument, and see where it sounds best. Put the mic there.
Yeah.
What a
Go
concept.
go into the control room. If it sounds like poo-poo, but you can use another word because you like that word. Go back and move the mic again. Like don't mess it up with the EQ. Don't mess it up with, you know, all the other
mic
stuff. Like
placement
he was
is
just
it's
mic
everything.
through the console to tape, and that's all he was. And he
And you're
won
in
how many
From the
Grammys?
school of 3-track, 22.
Yeah.
He comes from the school of the 3 tracks that they have to, everything has to be perfect. You know,
And you're
just
in a
laying it
room
down.
like your room or your room or your room, and you don't want to close mic everything. You want to use the sound of the room to enhance the music. So if someone comes in to do a string date, like it's a 12-piece date, and I see that they have 30 mics on it, I go, oh,
Yeah, you got a problem.
they don't know what they're doing.
That's a problem.
You know, I don't say anything, nor would I, but I'm thinking to myself, oh, you're not
When they leave,
utilizing.
you're laughing at them.
Yeah, because you're not using it for what it's. The room is an instrument on its own.
Yes. It
The acoustic space. There's a reason that we worry about design and acoustics, and I'm telling you, talk to your teachers. It's crucial, dude.
And each one of these rooms up here has a completely different sound.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And depending on what you're doing.
And the different rooms within our facilities.
Yes, within your facility.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Okay. I just don't want to run out of time. I just want to make sure we're good. Dan? We're good?
He's just scared.
Considering I only knew 24 hours ago I was doing this. Yeah. Okay. So do you have writing rooms? I know we predominantly have recording studios and recording rooms. Do people come to you and say, we want a writing room nowadays, and say, we're going to put 20 writers in a room and see what comes out?
20 writers for one room is a lot.
Well, yeah.
Usually if they want the writing room, they want the small room where
But they
you
want
can
a
have...
writer's camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, writing camp is its own thing.
Yeah.
If they want the whole facility, we have our main tracking room, and then we have a smaller room where we have an Atmos setup and a stereo setup that's more for writing and production, because they don't need more than that.
Yeah.
They need
Do you still have the ADB in the room?
The ADB is in the main room, yeah.
Good sounding
at Clear
room
Lake.
At Clear Lake.
Great.
On Burbank.
Like Apollo's laptops.
Really good sounding room.
In B, yeah. Well, you need to have a basic vocal chain at the very least for a writing session.
Yeah.
When I was at Atlantic, I like to call it Hit Factory. I had 8 writing rooms, and we would do 2 sessions every day in each room, and it would just be writers and producers coming in to write for projects. So it was just banging out as many songs as possible. Super quick turnaround. Just a couple vocal chains, some speakers, a booth, and a computer, and that's it.
At that point, you were just making them comfortable and just hosting them, right?
Super
It's not a lot of
vibey
technical stuff.
spaces, but they don't need much gear-wise. You have a couple of keyboards, we had upright pianos, we have some guitars that you can do a DI, but at that kind of space, the quality of audio is not really as important, unfortunately, but all they're doing is a demo, so they don't need it to be sonically perfect. There's no mix to consider. It's just like, okay, this is the basis, this is what we're working with, and we
collaborating and coming up
can
with
make it
ideas.
something special later.
Yeah.
That's
Just
basically
got to get
it.
the ideas down.
Yeah.
And they're pitching after that. Okay.
So it is very different from these big tracking rooms and the orchestral sessions and anything where you have to worry about mic placement.
It's a new concept because
It
now
is.
publishing companies and all the record labels are the ones booking these writer camps, which is pretty good. It's like a whole new business. So.
Which is good though.
Yeah.
Because
No, it's
Well, they're
great. It's
developing
very- it's
artists, which
creative
is a
and-
plus.
And they get a taste of what it's like to be at a real studio rather than someone's garage.
which is a whole different
Yeah.
mentality of like going in a room.
Yeah.
You're not just like in somebody's bedroom
when you
somewhere.
when you go to these places, you're gonna meet other people in other rooms doing other things, and it's so much. I saw Al Schmidt getting work just from going next door talking to people. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good to experience
That's
that.
a
if you
rare
get
thing that
chance.
happens in a commercial studio that doesn't happen in your house. Is a cellist meets a hip hop guy, or
Yeah.
a violinist is the next thing I know. And it's very common for us, for an artist like Miley Cyrus is in one room, and then she knows the producer in 3, and the next thing I know, she's in 3 working with him doing something
Yeah, the
else.
cross-termination.
And that's the way it used to be.
Cross-pollination is cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty
It's kind
great.
of a Motown-y vibe.
Yeah,
that way.
that used to be. I mean, there was a time I think when there's a story about James Taylor was in one room and Carole King was in the other, and she was just like, "Come on over and just like working, let's write a song together." And I can't remember which song it was,
You
but
Got a Friend, isn't
I
it?
think it was
Yeah,
"You Got a
You Got a
Friend."
Friend.
Yeah.
They wrote it, and it was just like,
Magic.
jeez, that kind of stuff. And there was a time when you would just walk in. I would be in A, you'd be in B, C, and it's like you just like, dude, come and listen to what I'm doing. And that was the best.
Yeah.
And you have lifelong friendships from people who are just like, oh yeah, man, I haven't seen you since you were over at so and so and such and such. So that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a whole generation that has not really experienced that.
Yeah.
And that's a special thing in and of itself, because there are people who I've been around for
Yeah.
35
Yeah.
years, and it's like they're doing legendary stuff now. But I was talking to my wife the other day. We were over at Manny Marroquin's restaurant,
Verse, I love it.
Great place.
So good.
And they were like, "How do you know Manny?" I'm like, "Well, Manny used to be my second.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Manny used to be my
Lowry,
second
yeah.
over at the Enterprise.
Yeah. Oh.
And Dylan used to be my second. And so you talk to some of these people, and it's just like, yeah, dude, 1992, they were my second. It's like, geez, it's so getting to know those people, and it's just a whole different thing of getting to know who the next generation of great engineers are going to be.
So counting on you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, creating at
Bring it
home
back.
is great if you're good, and creating at home is fine. Artist empowerment is awesome. All of us up here would never have a problem with an artist that had a home studio and needed to do something. But places like this, they're unique, and one day they'll be gone, and people will never realize how they enhanced music and how they made it better. So I would say that if you do get a chance, if you're working with an artist and something pops and you make a little money, just book a day. Come into a real studio like this and
Absolutely.
give it a shot
Get the
and
drums.
see how, do the drums or see how it enhances what you've already been working on, and you're going to be happily surprised.
Yeah. And you should remember these ladies, and you should call them up and say, I was at this mix master,
Sure.
and I just want to come in and try it just for X number of hours, or
Sure.
yeah.
You could book a 4-hour session.
Yeah. I think it's critical. Q&A? Okay, we have questions.
All right, so first question from Dylan. For all the new creatives in the studio, how do you deal with an artist conflict during a studio session?
What do you mean, like someone's getting in a fight?
Or just any conflict, I'm guessing. It wasn't really specified, so.
I think it depends on the conflict.
Yeah. And between
Is there a gun?
Who's the conflict with the second? with the
Sometimes you want to stay out of that.
It's going to be dealt with. Yeah.
I managed a rap studio for a long time,
Yeah.
so it's you got to learn how to diffuse.
Yeah, you
I
can't.
literally had a fist fight in the parking lot.
I barbecue for everybody. My thing was always, I'll just cook you something to eat. Calm everybody down.
All right.
That was my question. I was like saying more like, how do you still keep the vibe, but still keep I know like as an engineer, you gotta put your ego aside and let the artist have their ego and take over. But how do you like make sure it's not too much where it's like you're not even here to do your job anymore?
Well, I mean, if they're rude to you and if they're stopping you from doing your thing or interfering with you, you suck it up, finish the session, come and tell the manager. and
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I either
Try
don't
to-
book them again or you don't work with them again, I would say.
Yeah.
Withdraw yourself from people that are
Yeah.
Finish the session
And
as
there
long
are-
as it's not dangerous or
Yeah.
violent.
Yeah.
Finish the session, but
Yeah.
make sure you pass on to management because that's our job
That is our
to
job.
protect our team.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is our job. I mean,
we
I've-
protect our team. It's our babies.
Yeah, if
so
somebody, if
just make sure
somebody's-
management
if
knows.
somebody's intense with my crew, although I will say this, I expect you not to be overly sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta have thick skin.
Yeah, you got to have, But you can't, you know, the customer is always right.
Yeah.
And they're going to make sure that you are treated well.
Don't
if you're the
crash and burn the
artist.
session because your feelings got hurt.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just not a thing.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
Oh, Zach.
Okay, hold that thought. Next question.
All right, so
And put the mic a little closer to you.
quick question
There we
from
go.
Arnish. He says, do you usually ask runners any technical questions during the interview? If so, what kind of technical knowledge do you look for overall?
Oh, we have a whole tech quiz.
So do we.
Yeah.
Just because you got out of a school doesn't mean
Don't
anything.
think you know.
You're at the bottom of a very high mountain.
We don't expect anyone to get 100% on the test.
Yeah.
I've only interviewed 2 people so far that have gotten every question right. It's just a test so that we know what you know, what you've been taught, what you've learned. Do you know anything about a number of things?
I want to
didn't
know if
write
they're
the test.
malleable. I want to know if, because I want people from schools with basic, I want basic electronics and signal flow knowledge, but I also want someone who isn't going to be rigid because they may not have been exposed to the things that I have, you know, the gear that I have and stuff like that. But obviously basic signal flow and obviously Ohm's law, electronics, stuff like that.
Right.
You know, if you don't understand what -10 + 4 is, you need to get on that. And soldering. Soldering's great. But yeah, you're right. I need a copy of
I
your
also
test.
need to know if they're honest because
That's
you ask them
really
questions
important.
about technical questions. You can see who's trying to lie their way out of a question they don't know. And I would much rather they say, "I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to
But
that."
what about the fake it till you make it part where they're really like brave?
Here's
or
the thing,
just
like,
tell me I don't know and ask me the answer, and then you learn something new.
okay,
That's
okay.
what we want.
Like for my facility, we don't really have a test per se.
I don't either.
But we, you know, like you can tell who knows their stuff. Like it's
The engineers will tell you.
the engineers. You know, I check in with my engineers all the time. How's so and so doing? How's the new guy doing?
When you're interviewing someone, you can tell pretty quick.
You can tell, but like, you know, fake it till you make it sometimes gets by, but then, you know, like the techs will always have our backs as well and be like, hey, like I brought him into the studio to like, you know, see if they, you know, just to like, you know, like test the microphone or whatever. And they ask no questions. They act like they knew it all. And then when
Bad.
I gave
That's
him the
bad.
mic, he just stood there.
That's bad.
So like it's a tell. Like your behavior is a tell. I mean, we're gonna know pretty quick if you know what you're doing.
most of the
We're
people
all
starting,
right,
you
right?
know,
Be honest,
new.
but be honest, but be excited and eager enough to be like, you know, I don't know that, but I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
okay
get
for
it
you
by
guys
tomorrow.
Not to know stuff too. I mean, you guys, you're not going to get to know and train on every single console that's
Yeah.
out there. Like,
And that's
you
going
know,
to take a long time.
that's
so-
going to take a long time. Just be open to asking questions. No, you know, nobody's going to be like, oh, well, that's, you know,
don't know
a
that
stupid
yet.
question. Like, how could you not know that? Like, they're meanies if they do that. Like, my staff, I make sure, like, if you're, you know, like, no question's a stupid question. Like, we're all here to learn. I mean, that's why, like, if you start off as a runner in a major studio, like, this is your continuation
Absolutely.
of your education. It's
Absolutely.
not really your first job where you're supposed to know everything. It's, you know, you start at the bottom to learn the culture and learn the gear at that studio so then you can then be an assistant.
And what about starting off? What about that practical knowledge that you do have to know, like keeping food runs together, keep making sure, you know.
Common
when you-
sense,
you know,
man. I had
common
somebody
sense
set a
stuff.
thermos on
And if a
open
lot of
flame.
studios are independent and have to be cleaned, do they know? What were you talking, some nightmares of someone using a pledge in the toilet or something?
Oh, that was me.
Yeah.
This is for wood.
But I mean, like practical knowledge.
They cleaned the toilet with pledge. Yeah.
And you had to explain to them this is for
You
wood.
you know this person's father. Yeah, they did not last very long.
So that's where you start off at the
tell you later.
runner position, and most importantly is food runs. And
Yeah, if you
getting-
can't get a food run right, like don't be. It's really a balancing act between humility and confidence and eagerness, because we don't want you to be all like meek and beat down or anything. We want you to be excited and enthused, but we also want you to be patient. And if you can't get a food order right, why am I going to trust you in a session?
That's it.
Man, if you mess up the food
Remember that.
order,
You should also know how to read a room.
it's detailed. Oh my God,
most
so
important
important.
thing.
No, I'm telling
Most
you, I'm
important
telling
thing
you,
ever.
You got to know how to read a room.
Yeah. Why'd your phone
Hang on a
die?
second.
Oh, yeah.
They're yelling at me from the back.
I'm busting you, dude.
Only have time for 2 more questions. Yes.
I know, sorry, I'm booking like.
Tina's
God,
I got to go. All right, hit
6
us.
o'clock session's coming in.
All right. What is the most important factor that has kept you motivated and grounded in your career?
Oh,
Technically.
wow.
Getting a
The
paycheck.
universe likes to knock me down a peg every time I think I've made it. Yeah, I was like backstage at a Harry Styles concert. I was hanging with Mick Fleetwood and like all these like famous musicians and stuff. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. At that time, I was the mother of a 4-year-old. Went to go take the kid to his swimming class, and I just hear this tiny little voice saying, "Mommy, I don't feel so good." And then projectile, and I was like,
Oh, dear.
"Thanks, life. Thanks." Like you just you
Just
like
keeping you grounded.
that's like life just goes. Guess what? Like, yeah, you think you're a rock star, but like you're just a human, and you have life that happens all the time. Like you remember that. Like no matter how big you get, you could always
Projectile
get
vomit
that.
will always
Yeah.
do that for you. Another question? One more question?
Yes. This one is, what advice would you give to someone who is attending school to study music production and would love to work in the studio but doesn't study audio engineering?
Okay, that's very specific. So they want to be in music production, because I'm going to fight the fight right now and just say, those of you who think you're going to come out and be producers out the gate, that is possible in this day and age, but it's not how we came up. It's not what we look for. I'm speaking for all of us, and you guys can correct me if you think I'm wrong. But we hold engineering in the highest. We revere it as a craft. I can't emphasize that enough. So if you don't want to study engineering, that's fine, but you really need to acquaint yourselves with the basic fundamentals of the process of tracking, overdubbing, mixing, etc. Because if you don't understand how that works, you will never be a good producer. You'll be stuck in your house for the rest of your life.
That sounds like a great place to leave it. Anybody want to add anything to that?
I'm just saying.
No,
we got one of the greatest
Yeah,
engineers
yeah.
ever sitting right here.
Is it a quick question?
Go, babe. Let him
What's
go.
the best advice you would give to someone? Like, what's the best approach someone should have if they're like very ambitious and eager to learn? Like, if they approach you and like want to be an intern or anything like that.
Respect other people's time. That's the most valuable thing. Respect
Yeah.
other people's time, because all of us at the studios, we are very busy, and people are sometimes a little too eager, and
Yeah, there's right balance.
they like show up at the door and want an interview right away. And it's like, please don't show up at my door. I have 50 different calls and clients that don't want to see a random person from
Look
the
for
street.
stuff to do. Clean. You know, if I see somebody sitting and wasting time, that's a real killer for me. I don't like people who hide. There's always something to do. My building, your building, big building. And if I see somebody sitting out in the lobby looking at their phone,
Yeah.
if you're not looking for something to do,
Candace, Raoult, Vicky, Tina, Paula.
And Tony,
Round of applause.
thank you.